12 weeks remain in the MLS Next Pro regular season. As the playoff picture takes shape, we head to the Northeast, to the Nutmeg State of Connecticut. It's the final meeting of the season between Toronto FC2 and CT United, both tied in the Eastern Conference table. Welcome inside Reese Stadium, along with our broadcast team, Jake Griffith. Glad to have you along with us. Connecticut United, 3 wins in their last 5. They've taken 14 of the last 21 points in this recent run of form, kicked off by a 4-2 win a handful of matches ago against this Toronto FC side, who come in 4 consecutive losses, their longest losing streak since 2023. We take a look at how these sides line up. First, for the home side of Connecticut United and manager Shavar Thomas, going with a 4-3-3. They make just one personnel change. Rickson Van Hees will slot in at the right back spot. It's important today in this 4-3-3 shape for Connecticut United to want to take advantage of those wide spaces. They, against Carolina Core in their last timeout, did a great job of creating a lot of central overloads, utilizing those middle three of Lacey, Petrie, and Ernesto Gomez. It's one of the benefits of that 4-3-3 shape is that it allows you that superior midfield control. Having the 3 midfielders centrally gains you that numerical advantage, and they're going to try to exploit that numerical advantage today against this Toronto FC side. Something that, going back to their 4-2 win now 5 matches ago, they did such a great job against the Young Reds of getting those overloads centrally. As for Toronto FC2 and manager Gianni Cimini, they come out in a 3-5-2. They make just 2 personnel changes, including Elias Kodri, who will be a part of that 2-striker approach next to Jamari Nolan. As for Toronto FC and this 3-5-2 shape, we talked about the dynamic nature of the midfield for Connecticut United. Well, that is undoubtedly the goal today, is stymie those central overloads. And it is something that this midfield 5 really allows you to do. But it starts with the back 3. You have that strong spine of those back 3 paired with the middle 5, creates a lot of chaos and traffic, won't allow a team to really want to exploit those middle areas. And if Toronto FC can take that away from Connecticut United, the job gets a lot harder for the Coy Wolves this evening. All set to go between Toronto FC and CT United, who are in the light tops. Toronto FC in the all red, and Marie Durr, our center referee, has things ready to go. They're even in points, 22 each in the Eastern Conference table. The season series also even. Toronto getting a win 2-0 earlier this year on the road against CT United. There is the opening whistle. The opening kick has taken place. That ball is moving, and we are underway in this match week 19 fixture between CT United and Toronto FC2. Knocked out of play. The Young Reds will have the throw, coming in off the narrow loss 1-0 against Atlanta United last time out. Had a chance to catch up with Gianni Cimini earlier in the week, and one of the things that he said was, felt like his team grew as the game went on. Did not like the way they started that contest. They give up a goal in the 34th minute that ends up being the match winner, but it was not without some late dramatics for Toronto FC in the 77th minute, earning a corner as that ball goes rolling out of play, and change of possession will occur via the throw-in. Had a corner in the 77th minute. Ball goes popping out the other side. They recycle it. Had a header on the near post that was saved as this ball turned over. The counter quickly on, and just as quick, fizzles out. Thumped all the way back down, and that is where Raquan Campbell-Dennis will let it roll all the way back to Zakaria Nuckley. 12th start of the season. Has played 990 minutes. The native of Quebec has in a Toronto FC shirt this year. Fisher rolls it back over to Nuckley. 11 combined saves this season against Connecticut United across the prior 2 matchups, including a 6-save outing in that 4-2 loss for Toronto FC. Campbell-Dennis cycles it back. Here's Fisher, and here comes the press of this CT United side. One that has been highly successful in 2026. 12 counterattacking goals they've scored this year. And here is a counter developing now for the Coy Wolves. Knocked off the boots of Dylan Lacey and out the other side for a CT United throw. In this 4-3-3 shape of Shavar Thomas, that is something that they have gone to time and again. It's been an aggressive pressing mentality all season long. They've really been able to utilize that press to manipulate their opposition. Defender goes in. A whistle from Marie Durr and a quick restart from the Coy Wolves. I had a chance to catch up with Connecticut United earlier in the week, specifically Dylan Lacey. He had said that that is something, that press and that repress, they constantly work on in training. Lacey credited their communication as a team as to why they've been able to be so successful in the counter press. A stoppage motioned for from our center referee. Peeled back over to Fisher, who retreats and cycles it over to Knuckley. Toronto FC electing to go direct here now. Glancing header along, it'll roll out, and it will be a throw for the Young Reds of Toronto FC's. Raekwon Campbell-Dennis will quickly toss it back in. Consecutive throws now coming, and Campbell-Dennis will have it again. Big week for Raekwon Campbell-Dennis, signed on Friday, an MLS Next Pro contract coming out of the Toronto FC Academy. Campbell-Dennis becomes the 59th Toronto FC Academy product to sign with Toronto FC 2. Errant ball over to the near touchline, and Connecticut United will take advantage via the throw in. As for CT United, touched on it at the top of the broadcast. They come in off the 3-1 win against Carolina Core in their last match. It was knotted up 1-1 going into the halftime. Coy Wolves conceding a late goal in first half stoppage time. Manager Shavar Thomas, he said the second half response very positive for his Connecticut United side. Booming ball over the top from Knuckley. Then went down in Kodri for Toronto FC. And here's Gunther Rankenberg. Under some duress now. 11th start of the season for Gunther Rankenberg. He himself 6 combined saves this year against Toronto FC. Going back to the win though for Connecticut United over Carolina Core. First time they've seen the Foxes of Core FC this season. 15 shots, 7 shots on target. And they also found ways to creatively get into the penalty area time and again. 24 touches in the Core FC penalty area. It was a performance that Shavar Thomas described as workmanlike for CT United. Here's the layoff in behind. Lacey on the other end of it. And he will earn a throw in for CT United. Layoff back over to Andre Applewhite. CT United having some issues controlling that ball, but now one back by Petrie. He'll fling it out wide. It's Lacey, goes across the face of goal, headed away. Now thumped further clear by Lucas Dawson, the 15-year-old, third start of the year. Smack dab in the middle of the pitch in that middle 5 for Gianni Cimini and company. And we get a whistle for a stoppage. A dangerous probing ball. This service good from Dylan Lacey. No one on the other end of it though for Connecticut United. As Toronto FC able to come away unscathed. Looking for the interchange over on the near side to Dawson. Out of his reach, and we get another whistle. This will go against Elias Kodri. The Frenchman, former New Hampshire and Gardner-Webb man collegiately.
Mentioned Lucas Dawson a moment ago, 87 clad in red there in the center of your screen. Just 15 years old. Earlier this year, he became the youngest debutant in Toronto FC history. 14 years old. Has been a real theme the last few weeks for the Young Reds as Knuckley comes out. The offside flag went up, and that will draw a whistle from Murray Durr. And it's been a theme the last few weeks for this Toronto FC side. You talk to their manager, Gianni Cimini, and player availability, player movement has been something that has been heavily on his mind. No Fletcher Bank today. Bank, the leading chance creator for this Toronto FC side. No Jackson Gilman. He was signed to a first-team contract back in May. And that has been something that Toronto FC, too, have been no stranger losing players to first-team contracts. In fact, over the last 5 seasons, they rank second most among all MLS Next Pro teams in players moved into the first-team environment. Jackson Gilman did get run with the Toronto FC first team earlier this week. They played a friendly before the restart of MLS play. Took on Halifax Wanderers of the Canadian Premier League. Ended up picking up a 3-1 win. Gilman scored a goal in that one. Also Malik Henry, who saw minutes, some significant minutes being that last season with Toronto FC. He also grabbed a goal, the other goal coming via an own goal against Halifax. Whistle for a stoppage, and Toronto FC will be the beneficiary of it. They'll have a free kick. Campbell Dennis moving quickly with it. Dropped back in, looking for Kodri forward, corralling it in is Jamari Nolan. I'm not sure if Nolan would play today. He was nursing an illness earlier in the week, but he is getting the start up in that two-striker approach for Gianni Cimini. 14th appearance, 11th start. He leads the team in shots on target per 90 minutes, also paces them in goals right now with 6. Young Reds go long with this one. Applewhite will nod it away from danger, and out it goes for another throw. Worked along, out wide, over on the far side. Dispossessed is Toronto FC, and now CT United. They'll turn this one upfield, looking for Dipolito on the other end. Corrals it in on the move. Recovery defensively, though, by Toronto, tracking all the way back with Stefan Kapoor. Real work beginning here for Toronto FC, trying to break down this defensive block of CT United, and so far, no issues with it. Switch the point of the attack over to the near side. Campbell Dennis nudges it forward. Applewhite trying to turn that one away from danger, instead turns it over, and Toronto FC will have the throw. Young Reds trying to kick the tires back on their season in 2026. 4 consecutive losses. Atlanta, Revolution 2, Red Bull New York, and CT United. Their longest losing skid, going all the way back to May 8th through May 27th of 2022. It's also tied with St. Louis City 2 for the longest active skid right now in MLS Next Pro. But you talk to Gianni Cimini, and despite some of the issues they've had the last few weeks in terms of getting results, he has been still a positive guy in terms of the trending direction of this team as they get another whistle. His biggest message to this Toronto FC 2 side has been, these are learning lessons these last few weeks. At this level, it's not the academy level anymore. You can't make mistakes and expect to not be punished for them. Splitting two defenders and rolling it centrally. It falls through at the spot and hacked away for a clearance by CT United. Combination of free up space. Lacey tries the extra pass. It's turned over. Racing onto it is Bryce Bonneau, the captain. Pressuring Applewhite, who is able to find Lacey going forward. Now Monas. DiPolito. Got a goal and an assist last week against Core FC. That's a lovely ball out wide from Daniel DiPolito. Into the half space. Monas will clip this ball along. In behind, it's Applewhite. Cuts it central. DiPolito stepping back. DiPolito blocked. Headed back along by Petrie. And it'll roll over to the possession of Zakaria Nuckley. It was a good ball initially to find Applewhite in behind. DiPolito just trying to be unselfish with that one. But that is what Toronto FC, while they don't want to give up that spacing in behind like they did to Applewhite, creating congestion, creating confusion is the name of the game tonight for this Toronto FC side. This is a Connecticut United team that they want to move fast. If you're Toronto FC, you have to slow them down both in and out of possession. Switched out wide. Campbell Dennis having to track back and get that one. Awkward collision between he and Applewhite. Play will continue on as Applewhite is down. Rolled in behind now. Here's Lucas Dawson. To Bonneau. Bryce Bonneau coming over from Huntsville City in the Eastern Conference a season ago. Gianni Cimini's been very complimentary about what 82 in red, their captain, has brought to this team. Clean, technically good, defensively reliable. Reed Fisher will run all the way back to scoop that ball up. 15 minutes elapsed so far in this contest. Both teams still searching for that elusive first shot. Trying to create that combination over on this near side. Reed Fisher ends up running through Alex Monas. And Monas will win a whistle for CT United. Here's Applewhite back to his feet after going down moments ago. And now Alex Monas impeded. Goes careening down to the turf here inside Reese Stadium. And it will be a free kick in this attacking half for CT United. Keep an eye right here on the left side of your screen. Monas just trying to shuffle past Raekwon Campbell-Dennis, who put his foot in hoping to win that ball back. Ends up catching the lower leg of Monas. It's been an area that Toronto FC have struggled in terms of set-piece defense. 5th most set-piece goals conceded this year by the Young Reds defensively. Giving up 2 free kick goals. Lacey shadows over this one. It'll be his to take. Lacey rifles this. Back stick goes curling over to the boundary line, and Nuckley will keep it into play. the far touchline Toronto FC goes. They don't like their options, and so they'll recycle this ball. CT United Soccer is proudly supported by Yale, New Haven Health, powering medical breakthroughs with the greatest of care. Back for Toronto FC goes. Nolan dropping in a bit and now trying to help create from that central space. Delayed whistle will sound from Marie Durr. There's a slight tug of the shirt as Toronto FC were breaking out. And the Young Reds will generate a free kick here in a real promising position for Gianni Cimini's bunch. Just 3 set-piece goals in 2026 for Toronto FC, but they have scored off a free kick so far this season. Did score off a set-piece in the earlier meeting, the 2-0 win against Connecticut United. That coming off a corner. Lifted toward Rankenberg, who sees it in all the way. Got to Rankenberg, didn't see a ton of action in the second 45 minutes against Carolina Core. It was the first half that Core FC, last time out for CT United, really asked all the questions. CT United able to reverse that in the second 45, but Rankenberg made some key saves last time out when they needed him, and he's really grabbed a hold of that #1 netminder spot after splitting some time at the beginning of the year with Anthony Ramos. 38 saves, just 15 goals allowed, 2 clean sheets, and a 72% save percentage for Rankenberg entering tonight's fixture. Off the Toronto FC throw-in, repossessed by Connecticut United. Here is Michael Boma. To Stevenson forward. Nearly knocked off the ball, Javar Stevenson was, and now headed back along by Toronto FC. Couldn't corral it in, and Lucas Dawson will just knife it out of play. That is where the Coy Wolves will have the throw. Going back to that second half against Carolina Core, where CT United really asserted themselves. It was something that was a big theme of the conversation earlier this week with Javar Thomas, manager for the Coy Wolves, trying to start this contest out the way they ended the match against Carolina Core. Felt like it was a much improved second half. They really controlled the tenor of the contest. It's come in fits and spurts so far in these first 21 minutes, but through some junctures they have been able to control that tone of the match. They move it forward, now played in behind. It's Monis on the other side. Alex Monis, the captain, will let it roll out of play, and that will be a throw for CT United. Monis, 9 goal involvements, including a goal earlier this year against Toronto FC. Former New England Revolution man, Chicago Fire, homegrown as well after spending 2023 in MLS Next Pro with Chicago Fire too. 8 goal involvements that season. Another throw upcoming for Toronto FC. They've scored 4 goals combined in 2 matchups this year. A 2-0 win and a 4-2 loss against the CT United side. And in a lot of respects, could have had more. A little unlucky. They've hit the post 3 times in the 2 prior matchups. Moreover, they have just been very dangerous against Connecticut United when in the final third. 42 touches in the penalty area combined between the previous 2 matchups against Connecticut United. Something that stood out from the conversation with Toronto FC earlier in the week. You talk to folks around this club, and sort of the vibe you get is they feel like they're going to have some offensive chances today, just based on the nature of their game model against Connecticut's game model. And here they are now asking some questions. The give and go back in behind, over on the far side, seeking Tristan Blythe. Ultimately dispossessed was Blythe. He is a player that Gianni Cimini, though, highlighted in our conversation, said he's grown in confidence. They knew at the beginning of the year he was a player with a good profile. I feel like he's good technically, has speed, but they've loved how confident he's played these last few weeks. Made appearances with the Toronto FC U16 side last year in the 2025 Generation Adidas Cup. Now 14 appearances, 6 starts for Blythe, including his appearance tonight. Knocked away from Connecticut by Toronto. They'll slot this ball all the way through. Off to the races is Kodri. Gets that extra pass across to Nolan and turned aside. Nifty slip through. Monis able to create some space. Doesn't have the support he's looking for, though, and finally finds it over to Applewhite. Lacey. Go diagonal with that ball. Took a deflection, ultimately worked wide. Now put in front toward goal, clipped wide. And a goal kick awarded to Toronto FC. You hear the Connecticut United coaching staff shouting for positional discipline, trying to get numbers in that pocket atop the 18, just in case one of those errant passes pops back out. So for Toronto FC, they have the only shot on target of this contest, parried by Gunther Rankenberg off a free kick earlier in this half. It's out of play. TFC2 will have the throw. Connecticut United, they've had some dangerous flashes in transition so far. Still no shots on target, but in terms of wanting to slow the game down and the tone of the contest, so far almost a half hour in, that does favor Toronto FC. That was a goal of theirs, wanting to slow Connecticut United down, and they have, in a lot of respects, achieved that so far. Lumped over the top, looking for Kodri again, still battling through. Connecticut United looking to clear the lines, and they do successfully. Fisher trying to head it away, and now a delayed whistle. Marko Stojanovic will be shown that whistle from Marie Durr, as Dylan Lacey finally back to his feet. The 22-year-old Stojanovic getting the start today. 7th start in as many appearances since being reacquired by Toronto FC2 in May. Spent the first half of the year with Atletico Ottawa in the Canadian Premier League. Made 5 appearances. Prior to that, spent 3 years, 2023 through 2025, with Toronto FC. Driven back into play by Applewhite, and we resume. One of the interesting wrinkles we're starting to see for Connecticut United as this contest drags along, that is Sean Petrie, who at the start of the contest was starting smack dab in the middle of the three next to Lacey and Gomez in that midfield three for Connecticut United. But they are content right now to drop him back defensively. The reason why, they are getting Andre Applewhite right there on the left side of your screen very high into this attack. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast the importance for Connecticut United of creating overloads, not just centrally, but in the wide areas. It's been something that over these last 5-6 matches, Shavar Thomas's team has excelled in, getting those overlapping runs going in the wide space. Up ahead and in behind. Dippolito almost ran out of room. Knocked out of play by Stefan Kapoor. It'll stay right here. A corner coming, first of the evening for CT United. They've only scored once off a corner in 2026, but Toronto FC, they've struggled on their corner defense. 4 corner goals allowed in 2026. Lacey will have this from the far flag. Lacey, outswinging ball, first contact made by Toronto FC. A short clearance away, and they do get the whistle to their benefit, which will end the spell of possession for CT United. Flicked along, CT United able to knock that one away. Not possessed yet though by Connecticut. Toronto still moving around with it, and they will settle in on things, at least for the moment. Lucas Dawson goes down, and that's a whistle for Marie Durr. Fisher will walk this one forward. He had wanted to just quickly take the free kick to get play back underway. And Marie Durr telling him, free kick's up here. Here's Knuckley. They love to get him involved in the distribution. He's something that, going back a few weeks, his opposite netminder today, Gunther Rankenberg, reflected on. Very similar approach for these two coaches about utilizing their netminder in build-outs, in distribution. And Rankenberg, he said that that's such a crucial piece of being the modern goalkeeper. How you can help your team bypass the press, but it really is incumbent upon you to understand as a netminder when to go long with it versus when to go short. Here is Campbell Dennis. Support to his right in Lucas Dawson. Dawson turning past 2 defenders, staying in possession. Stojanovic slid inside, but no, goes down, and it'll be a whistle. Toronto FC already in this contest earlier in this first half, now that we are over a half hour deep. They've shown some danger off their free kicks. Rankenberg's only save of this contest coming off a set piece from the opposite side of the pitch for Toronto FC. Costabile stands over top of it, as does Tristan Blythe.
Costabile rifled toward the near post, but carrying wide and out. Just ended up breaking back more to the right than Costabile was looking for, but still, as it was leaving his boots, a dangerous effort. Stevenson resets back to Rankenberg. Experience the future of gaming with Find, the first free gaming platform built for your smart TV. No console downloads or subscriptions required. Launching soon on Samsung and LG smart TVs. Trying to carve an opening here is Lucas Dawson, the 15-year-old. Handed off to Campbell Dennis. Pair of products of the Toronto FC Academy linking up there. Funneled ahead, Bonneau to Dawson, slid inside. Here's Blythe, dodging one. Back to Bonneau. And Blythe again, lost his footing for a moment, and that's just enough for the Coy Wolves to pounce on it. Won't make its way to the halfway line, though, as Kapoor heads it back along. Turned over, and the counter developing for CT United. One thing that has been on display a handful of times so far in this first half has been the rest defense of this Toronto FC side. Their ability when giving that ball up to make sure they have numbers back. Goes back into that idea of stymieing Connecticut United by slowing the contest down, trying to take away their strength, which this is a CT United side that essentially have lived in transition in 2026. Right out of the reach of Barnabas Tanyi, and that is where Reed Fisher will collect things. Long ball ahead, met first by CT United. And Javar Stevenson. Miscommunication there between Bonneau and Fisher. Won't matter, the young Reds calm under the pressure, and now Blythe on the turn. Goes out to his left. Costabile, pass was a bit behind him. Able to pick the pieces up though. Polito unable to control that one right at the midfield stripe. Toronto FC will return the favor by giving it back to CT United. Van Hees goes ahead with it. Here's DiPolito. Now in behind, Barnabas Tanyi. Tanyi back over to Lacey! Rings it off the post and out. And it's cleared for a corner to CT United. Barnabas Tanyi, exploded these last few weeks in terms of offense. 7 goals in his last 7 matches, but had 2 assists against Core FC. Almost had an assist there. Luckily didn't know about it, but Lacey couldn't beat the post. Only what has been the last 10 minutes that has seemingly been controlled by Toronto FC in terms of the tone of the match. Switch has flipped back to Connecticut United. Second corner loading here. Lacey swings this high in toward goal. The heads go up, and it pops out of play. Once
again, bend but don't break for Toronto FC too. Knuckley to Fisher. 23rd overall pick in last year's Super Draft by this Toronto FC organization. Now Stevenson uncorks this ball all the way forward. It finds Fisher. Safely steers this back over to Knuckley. Campbell Dennis, back he goes, Fisher. Fisher trying to take the top off the defense, glancing header along, running onto it is Kodry, cuts it inside now. Nolan turns it over to Blythe. Stojadinovic. Here's Fisher. They'll go through the central space now. Once Dawson, who gets shown a whistle by Marie Durr. And that will stop things. Monis, though, arguing his case, was looking for the advantage to be played instead. Here's Petrie. Slipped back centrally, Dippolito now. Half turn for Daniel Dippolito, options around. It's Monin! Breakthrough, CT United have soft in this first half. Finally, rolls past Knuckley. 1-0, CT United. Feel it building these last 5 minutes, especially after that Lacey effort that went off the post. This time, Monis won't miss his mark. Grabs goal number 6 on the season. And the Coy Wolves are off and running at home. Last match week, they conceded a late goal in the first half. Shavar Thomas said they were disappointed with that because of the way it could have changed the complexion of the match. Well, now, late in the first half this week, they grab a late goal, and they have changed the complexion of the match in their favor. Second goal of the year, and now 3 matchups for Alex Monis against Toronto FC, and it leaves the Young Reds searching for answers. That goal for Monis essentially coming against the run of play, one that in this first 45 minutes overall, Toronto FC, they've enjoyed 61% of the ball. Prior to that Monis effort, they had the only shot on target of the match. Seeking Campbell Dennis over on the near side. Caught the head of Andre Applewhite and trickles out of play for a Bryce Bonneau throw in. Lifted ahead, a foot race. Blythe won't win that, and now CT United trying to turn this upfield, only for it to be hacked back down by Toronto FC. Gomez under pressure and ultimately ran through at the last minute by Bryce Bonneau. That'll draw a whistle for a stoppage from Marie Durr. Approaching the end of this opening 45 minutes. The goal from Alex Monis in the 41st minute, the difference maker so far. Make sure to stick with us during our halftime report. I have highlights, a look at the upcoming schedule around MLS Next Pro, one that extends for this match week into the midweek, a Wednesday night fixture coming up. Also head down to Frisco, Texas to catch up with North Texas SC. They just opened their new Mansfield Stadium. And a chance to catch up, rather, with their manager, John Gall, earlier this week, and we talked about that new Mansfield Stadium. He said it's such a beautiful venue. They had a great fan turnout, ended up sending them home happy with a 3-0 win in their opening match of the Mansfield Stadium. It's been a long time coming for that North Texas side, who claimed the 2024 MLS Next Pro Cup final. But it just goes to underscore the level of investment that has existed these last few years in MLS Next Pro. And with that comes the investment in independent teams like Connecticut United. Don Garber, the commissioner of Major League Soccer, going back earlier this summer, telling Front Office Sports that in his estimation, the independent teams are the future of MLS Next Pro, and more of those will join in the near future. Island FC on Long Island in the coming years. There was news about the transfer of ownership with the Jacksonville organization that's hoping to get going in the coming seasons. Grand Rapids as well, joining the fold soon in MLS Next Pro. Fourth official indicating just 1 minute of additional time now that we have reached the halfway point of this contest. Bonneau tripped up behind things, and Marie Durr will usher for a stoppage of play. For that foul right there. Petrie trying to battle for that ball back, ended up colliding with the back of the leg of Bonneau, and play is back underway. Toronto FC, should this result hold going into the intermission break, I have a feeling of frustration about it for the visiting side from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Just a few ticks of the clock away from the halftime whistle from Marie Durr. Toronto will throw it back into play. And there is that halftime whistle from our center referee. We have reached the break in the Nutmeg State. Our score at the half, Connecticut United 1-0. Coming up in our halftime show, highlights our upcoming schedule. But after the break, a Pride Month story on the importance of soccer and community, all when we come back.
They say the world's game is played everywhere. This is how we play it here. Every weekend across North America. From Vancouver's mountain rain to the shores of Florida, from the city of angels to the heartland, the world's brightest stars light up our fields.
Let's go.
And our fans bring the world to life. In every language, in every city. One game, one roar. Sold out nights under lights. New soccer citadels rising from coast to coast. Every chant, every goal, another brick in a growing relief. Now, the world's biggest stage comes to our home. And when they arrive, they'll find the game's heartbeat has been here all along.
Welcome back. June was Pride Month, and we take you to Cincinnati and superfan Mark Brockman on how he and his soccer community found each other.
I'm Mark Brockman. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm an FC Cincinnati 2 supporter. I spend a lot of time paying attention to FC Cincinnati. The 2 team is ultimately just another outlet to get away and think about soccer for 90 minutes instead of whatever else is going on. I really enjoy the opportunity to come to the games, and the 2 team is so interesting because you can see young players and know, well, Andre Trilla debuted for this team last year at 16. Well, now he's starting for the first team, and he's one of the best ball progressors in the league. And you could have seen that last year at Scudamore. And I think that's a really cool experience. And I think there's something to be said for FCC fans who have never been to a 2 game. They don't know the highs and lows of MLS Next Pro. And there's nothing really like it to be around families and people, and you can hear everything on the field. And sometimes somebody's just going to rip a long shot, and it's going to go in, and the crowd's going to go wild, and you'll never see a replay. And you were there. You know, struggling with mental health and depression, it's really like a numbness and an apathy that gets to you. And for me, at least, it's what kind of ate away. I just didn't feel anything about anything. And FCC really provided me an outlet to feel again. And it was highs and lows and excitement and anger. And one of the first games I went to, we had a player allegedly bite somebody, and GB did not bite anybody. But, you know, it's controversy and it's emotion, and it's getting back to feeling things, not just being numb to the world. I think Pride Month is about community, and it's really important for me growing up. I didn't necessarily always see representation out in front of me. So growing up, I didn't know. I knew I was different, but I didn't know if it was okay. And I think Pride Month gives you a really good opportunity to get out there and be loud and proud. And it gives the younger generation an opportunity to see people living their lives as gay people or queer people. I think if there was something I was going to tell a kid or myself when I was in the closet younger, it's probably the most important thing in your life is going to be loving yourself. And if you love you, you're going to find people who will love you too. I mean, people told me it gets better and be yourself as a kid, and it always kind of sounds dumb and banal and cliche, but there really is something to be your authentic self, and you're going to do what you're passionate about and engage in your hobbies and things you're passionate about, and you will find a community that you enjoy and that loves you for who you are. Ultimately, being yourself is going to be more rewarding than being anybody else wants you to be. And just don't be afraid, because ultimately none of it matters.
My name is Nathaniel James. You can call me Natty James. I'm a striker/winger from Trinidad and Tobago. I grew up in a place called La Hoqueta, Rima. I grew up in the east side of the island. I started in a club nearby named FC Santa Rosa, and that's where I started playing football. My father, he saw that I had like my shoes were always dirty after school and stuff, and when I came home one day, I was like, I want to start to play football, and he was like, you want to start to play football? So my father was actually the one who started like carrying me out on the field, started passing, kicking, running, teaching me running techniques, everything. Then he got me into football because he used to play as well. After that, I just started playing, and I've been playing ever since. I was in Jablote, and I was playing youth football there. So at that time, I got selected for the under-15 national team. At the time, I was just so happy just to play and just to be around this environment, and I was just so excited for my future and what I could do, and yeah, it's been going good so far. I remember actually getting called to train when I was 15 as well. So I was training with the national team since I was like 15, and then I made my professional debut when I was 18, and then I made my competitive debut when I was 19. It was against Jamaica in Jamaica. I came on, played like 15 minutes. I was so nervous. It was good though, it was good. I came on, had some nice touches, played really well, played as a striker, and yeah, I enjoyed it. And my first competitive debut, I actually scored in it. So I came on for like 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of the game, and scored the winning goal, and it was in a CONCACAF Nations League game. It was one of the best feelings I've had in my life. When I was younger, I used to take a lot from different players. I think Messi and then Neymar were the two players that I would always look up to, like just watching football, because I was supported Barcelona when I was younger. And when I was like 15, like I started playing as like a cam, like a number 10. So I started watching like Dybala, and I wanted to be just like Dybala. I wanted to play like him, same left foot, same. I just wanted to move and play like him. So I think Dybala, I already did my research, see what it was all about, not Texas or whatever. And then I had a meeting with Coach Carl. John, he gave me a call. It was like everything I ever wanted. He just told me about everything. He was like talking about the new stadium, Mansfield, showing me how good it's gonna be, the environment, and I just fell in love immediately. And I knew that I wanted to be here. I wanted to like put my best foot forward for this opportunity, and I've been trying my best. I've been giving my best every day, so I just want to continue that. From the first day I came here, I was like, I just want to play well, play good. I want to score, I want to assist, I want to help the team in any way possible, So as of right now, my goal is just to help the team make playoffs and see how good we can do this season, see how far we can go, and I think we have a really good shot.
So my name is Edouard Nice. I'm from Belgium. I'm 21 years old, playing offensive midfielder for North Texas SC. Started playing for my hometown, Royal Sport. There's not a lot of people in my hometown. It's not really like a sport town or anything like that. It's just like a village, like a small village club. I played there for like 5 years. Yeah, that's where I started playing soccer. Coming from semi-pro back home, never won any trophy, never did anything, and then going to Northeast and just talking with the coach before joining them. He was talking about trophy, winning a national championship, and that's what I wanted. That's why I joined them. And the first year we lost in the semi-final, and we came up close, losing 0 games, losing 1 game, and it was the game in the semi-final. And then the year we came back, we won it all. So first big trophy for the college as well, first national championship, and it meant a lot to me. Yeah.
FC Dallas selects number 306 Edouard Nice from the University of Illinois.
No, it was crazy. I mean, I was sitting with my whole family on the couch in my house, and even my best friend from back home, and I just wanted to hear my name. Thought that was the moment for me, and it happened. So I was really happy. And one of my goals coming to America as well was getting drafted, as well as going Division 1. And just that happening was like surreal. I couldn't believe it in a sense, because going from hometown club, village, playing 6 years there, then playing semi-professional, you don't expect yourself 3 years later to get called in the MLS Super Draft and signing professional for FC Dallas. For this season, I would say, yeah, I want to be obviously the MVP of the league. That would be a good goal of mine. I mean, everything possible, like winning the Golden Boot, everything, like. But at the end of the day, I just want to win a trophy with North Texas. I know they won one in 2024, and I want to win one again. I want to give my teammates the best like effort from me on the field, and just like they can look up to me and be like, yeah, this guy is like trying his hardest, and we want to work for him at the same time, and just help the team winning trophies.
Texas had its ribbon-cutting ceremony and first official practice at the new Texas Health Mansfield Stadium with a capacity of over 7,000. Mansfield Stadium sits on a 250-acre stable entertainment district and was the FIFA World Cup base of operations for Czechia last month. The stadium opened for soccer last weekend with a 3-0 win against St. Louis City 2. Future bright in Frisco, Texas for North Texas SC. As for our contest, we have reached the halftime break, 1-0 in favor of CT United. Now let's check on our upcoming schedule around MLS Next Pro. The action continuing here. We are getting deeper into the season. This is match week 19, which means 11 match weeks remaining, heading toward that decision day on September 20th. The big one on Wednesday, Columbus Crew will hit the road to take on New England Revolution. A 1 versus 5 battle there. Crew 2, 4-0-1 in their last 5 matches. They right now top the Eastern Conference table, 9 wins, points in 13 of their 17 matches under second-year manager Federico Higuain. As for our match, let's bring you up to speed with how we got here. Our halftime highlights on your screen now, and despite just 1 goal scored in the opening 45, there's plenty of offense to go around for both teams. This, right around that half-hour mark, Daniel DiPolito shuffling around his shot block. Toronto FC, that's their only shot on target of the opening 45 minutes, off the free kick, stopped by Gunther Rankenberg, making the save. This clip toward goal in the vicinity of DiPolito, that one would carry him wide. Then off the set piece again. That really is where Toronto offensively have been their most dangerous. Barnabas Tanyi in toward that 45-minute marker, goes over to Lacey. That in about minute 39, hits off the post, stays out. It would stay scoreless, but then later in the half, DiPolito over to Monis, and Monis would slot it past Zakaria Knuckley, his 6th goal of the season, that in the 41st minute, and that is where we stand at the 45-minute mark. CT United leads at 1-0. We'll head back to break when we return. The opening kickoff of half number 2.
Boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud, don't worry about what next. Just know we got now, oh yes. Man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Back in Connecticut, approaching the start of half number 2 between CT United and Toronto FC. A late goal from Alex Monis in the 41st minute, the difference maker so far. Toronto FC have to
feel a little frustrated if you're the young Reds. Yes, you only had 2 shots, only 1 on target in the opening 45 minutes, but you did find ways to limit CT United through large junctures of that opening half. It was a real flash of brilliance for CT United in transition that they were able to swing it over to Alex Monis, who's having a chat right now with Marie Durr, and get that opening goal. If you're Toronto FC trying to claw your way back into this one, you have to do a better job of getting into the penalty area. Only 2 touches. As Durr sounds the whistle, and we are back underway for the second half. CT United, they had no such issue in terms of getting into that good scoring area, the goal zone, as some would call it. 8 touches in the penalty area, 5 shots, but the one thing that has to improve if you're Shavar Thomas's bunch, not just that ruthlessness, but you have to get those shots on the target. Only 1 shot on target through 45 minutes of play. 1 change at the half, and it rests with Toronto FC. Dequan Barrow, the Toronto native, will come on. 5th appearance of the year for Barrow. Off goes Stefan Kapoor. TFC 2 will get another whistle. A man goes tumbling down, that being Reed Fisher. Toronto FC, they had 62% possession in the opening 45 minutes, but of their 278 passes completed, 205 of them came in their own half of the pitch. That is something Gianni Cimini and company undoubtedly discussing during that halftime intermission, finding ways to get perhaps some more numbers going forward. Clipped along here. Stojanovic will put it wide. That one will sail out of play, and it'll be a throw for CT United. Connecticut United side, as that one goes back out, a change of possession will occur via the throw in. They are really rounding into form these last few weeks. They've taken 14 of their last possible 21 points coming into this fixture. You go back to their first 9 games of the year, took 8 of a possible 27 points. So just a handful of points away, 6 to be exact, of that playoff cut line. Only 2 expansion teams have ever qualified for the MLS Next Pro playoffs in league history. Crown Legacy ended up winning the Eastern Conference, at least during the regular season, back in 2023 before being upset in the opening round of the playoffs. Austin FC that same season, first year they joined the league, finished 4th, ended up in the Western Conference, ended up winning after taking down Columbus Crew 2 in 2023. Verdos back to their winning ways out in the West, leading the Western Conference. Drive their way in, Toronto FC 2 are, and they are the beneficiaries of another whistle from our center referee. This will be a free kick just a few steps outside the 18. If you're just joining us, Toronto FC, they had 2 attacking half free kicks in the opening 45 minutes. Their only shot on target came off of a free kick. Stabile was over in the vicinity. He backs off as Lucas Dawson will trot over. A 15-year-old getting the start today. He was a player that Gianni Cimini highlighted as a standout performer against Atlanta United. It'll be he and Tristan Blythe. Blythe drives this out wide, knocked back in front and cleared out of play. It'll stay here for a corner to Toronto FC 2. The layoff there at the last moment by Jamari Nolan, just crafty. The best player at the CONCACAF U17 World Cup qualifiers. Continue to find ways to make impacts all around Toronto FC 2 this year, helping earn them their first corner of the second half. They have a short option in Lucas Dawson. They go away from him. Instead, driven to the back post, falling through, forces Van Hees to just heave that out of play. Campbell Dennis will have the throw deep in toward this final third for Toronto FC2. At the end line, Young Reds come out of a crowd with it, trying to cut that one back in front. And it is knocked out of play once more by CT United. A good response here coming out of the halftime locker room to start the second 45 if you're Toronto FC. Give up that late goal in the waning minutes of that opening half, and if you're Gianni Cimini and his coaching staff, this is the kind of start you want to half number 2. Second corner in the span of 90 seconds. It'll be Dawson to take. Curls this one in toward Rankenberg, who punches it away. The rebound coughed up, headed back along, clipped toward goal, and Rankenberg making the grab. Booting this one along is Gunther Rankenberg, trying to catch the Toronto FC defense off guard. They do have good coverage in behind once more. Dawson over to Bonneau. Looking for Nolan in that half space area. Turned away from him, headed down and out of play. A dangerous ball curled in there by Lucas Dawson. Rankenberg, despite a lot of traffic in front of him, was able to just punch that one away. Now Van Hees lofts this one in on the throw. Ball caroms to the feet of Tristan Blythe. Short-lived bit of possession there for Toronto FC as Bonneau will knock that one out of play. And Connecticut United will have the throw in. Credit where credit is due for the CT United side. They have not been able to get into those transitional areas as fluidly as Shavar Thomas and company would like. They play a very up-tempo, heavy metal style of football in Connecticut. They want to get those vertical runs going. They want to be direct. They want to be fast-paced. They have not been able to do that as much because of the amount of bodies that Toronto FC have in that central area with those 5 midfielders. But despite that, they have just found a way still to pull themselves in front. Shows a real versatility for this CT United side, one that you're going to have as the season drags toward its conclusion, that decision day. Stepping up is Javar Stevenson, carrying it along again. Stevenson tries to go past that second defender. Ends up losing his footing, and Reed Fisher will play it forward. Long ball here, a foot race. They're trying to pick out Kodri in behind. Kodri able to make the grab. He'll hand it off over to Nolan. Oh, what a move. Jamari Nolan is in. Still Nolan. Knocked off the ball. The clearance kept in. Hit from distance. Ultimately worked out of play. How about this move from Jamari Nolan? He has been the standout performer this year for this Toronto FC2 side, continuing to shine on the ball. Kodri tries to lay that one back off. Looking to get those passing angles going in the midfield for Toronto FC. CT United were ready for it, and now this one boomed back forward. Kodri will run it down. The flag does stay down. Kodri tries to slide it over to Blythe, and that will be hooked out of play for a clearance. There's a defender down to one knee for CT United. That is Javar Stevenson, the 6'7" center back from Maryland. He is back to his feet as Marie Durr checking in on his status. Stevenson's turned in a hard shift for CT United. There was a minute where Javar Stevenson had carried that ball all the way into the attacking half. Strong center back run. Two changes here for Connecticut United, their first two changes of the evening. Warren Agostoni will come on for CT United as he trots on the former Pittsburgh Riverhounds Academy signing earlier this year, back in January. He is joined by Lucas Camrath, who got the start last match week, coming off the bench today. Play back underway. Pressure building here for CT United. Serrano will help this one along. Monis going to come up with that loose ball. Dodges past one and now a second as Van Hees will sidestep Tristan Blythe. Gomez bumped into by Bryce Bonneau. That'll be a whistle and a quick restart from the home side.
That's Cameron and Agostoni replacing Stevenson and Dietrich for CT United.
Here's Ernesto Gomez looking for the layoff back wide. It's one area that CT United haven't been able to consistently take advantage of, the wide spaces so far. Slid across, here's Van Hees. He'll stand this cross up back post. Hooked away by Stojanovic. A chance to break out here for Toronto. Pass just not online. Driving back inside, looking for the handoff over to Andre Applewhite. Turned away again by Toronto FC as Van Hees nods it along, glancing header forward. Toronto FC will just lift this ball back down. Starting to have some issues clearing these lines, Toronto FC are. DiPolito turns. Tanyi. Neither team able to settle in on things, at least for the moment, and that is where Rickson Van Hees will peel that ball away from Jamari Nolan. Just 34% possession so far in half number 2 for CT United as we come up on the hour mark played. They're really starting to impose themselves, though, these last 5 minutes. DiPolito, edge of the area, gives it back, cycled around. Here's Monis over, Van Hees toppled. And now we get a whistle. It will be a foul that goes against CT United as Jamari Nolan taken down. Right there at the end of it, Nolan just knocked down to the turf here. CT United Soccer is proudly supported by Yale New Haven Health, powering medical breakthroughs with the greatest of care. Dawson stuck in there, ended up getting muscled down, and it will result in a free kick. Go back to the conversation I had with Gianni Cimini following their loss against Atlanta United. He really highlighted Tristan Blythe and Lucas Dawson as players who made an impact on that contest. Dawson continuing to have a sizable impact on this match today as well. Here's the aforementioned Tristan Blythe standing over it next to him. Dawson lofts it along, right in front toward goal, knocked in!
pinpoint pass finds Daquan Barrow, and we're all square in Connecticut. 1-1. This is an excellent service. Lucas Dawson putting his thumbprints on this contest, much like last match week, and Daquan Barrow doing the rest. Account opened in 2026. Toronto FC will use this opportunity to make another change. Theo Rigopoulos will come on. Tristan Blythe exiting, his play back underway. Toronto FC able to withstand a push about 5 to 7 minutes from Connecticut United. Good spells of possession, creativity around the area, but nothing to show for it in terms of goals or shots. They withstand that, and now they grab the lifeline that they needed to put this contest back on even terms. But a second half that in a lot of ways has been controlled by Toronto FC. 3 shots, 2 shots on target, the advantage in possession, and now they're back in toward goal. An option out wide, it's Kodri for Nolan. Instead rolls it back across to Lucas Dawson. Dawson and Gomez battling, and Ernesto Gomez will win a whistle. United trying to go direct, and that has been a theme so far in this contest about their inability to get their direct game going right now. Rolled up ahead, it's Raquan Campbell-Dennis on the left. So far just 2 long passes completed in the second 45 minutes for CT United. That is one of those benefits we talked about at the top of the broadcast of this 3-5-2 shape, the structural stability. Out of possession, your wing backs are able to drop and join those back 3, so it shifts more into a back 5 almost. And with that amount of numbers back, providing coverage for Toronto FC, there just aren't many options in terms of Route 1 football right now for CT United. Michael Boma hands it back off over to Gunther Rankenberg. 1 save so far in this contest for Rankenberg. Floated along, Tanyi just sneak past that final defender, but the offside flag goes up. Barnabas Tanyi has not had his name called very much in this contest. Toronto FC have done a good job right now of marking Tanyi. Just 11 touches, only 1 of those coming in the Toronto FC penalty area. And now here are the Young Reds. They have confidence at their backs after getting that goal. Dylan Lacey takes a tumble off the collision between he and a Toronto FC defender, and that'll draw a whistle from Marie Durr once more. CT United moving quickly with it. It's Tanyi able to sneak in behind. Tanyi, and Knuckley gets a piece of it. That time, Route 1 football paying dividends for CT United. Canceled out, though, by the heroics of Zakaria Knuckley. Van Hees, back stick, clip toward goal and over the bar and out. Van Hees, he had a couple dangerous services floated toward that back post. CT United just have not been able to reward themselves on them by getting someone on the other end of it. Knuckley elects to go long now. First contact made by Van Hees. Campbell Dennis. Monis went down. Now ball rolled in behind. Here's Tanya. Keeper comes out. The net's empty, and Barnabas Tanya scores. Eight goals in his last 8 appearances. He's done it in 4 straight. CT United grabs the lead. Just a misread from Zakaria Knuckley. Got caught in no man's land. And Barnabas Tanya rounding the keeper and rolling it into the empty net. CT United grabbing the lead for a second time. Barnabas Tanya, I asked him earlier in the week, you are in such form right now. Now 9 goals on the season, 8 of them coming in his last 8 appearances. Why are you able to have so much success? And he said that his teammates are putting him in good positions to finish. That time taking the long feed forward and doing the rest. Barnabas Tanya grabs his 9th goal of the season. Able to move out of that cluster, the tie for 5th most goals in the league. Now just 4 off the pace of Arif Kovac and Atlanta United, who scored in their win 4-1 against Inter Miami earlier this match week. His tally at 13. And Tanya pulling CT United back in front. Toronto FC looking for the response. They have their pocket picked, and CT United transitioning back into the attack. Rankenberg will fling this one ahead. Regopoulos able to knock it back down. Now quickly back toward goal. Here's Lucas Dawson. Dawson tries to chip it back wide. Campbell Dennis not in a position to receive it. Does corral it back in. Now here's Kodri. Rather, Costabile. Gomez twisting and turning, trying to get past pressure there. It does go careening out of play, and CT United will have the throw in. It hasn't been easy so far for the home side, Connecticut United. They've had unwavering belief in their game model, and right now coming out the other side as it's headed along. Here's Tanya on the right. Tanya tries to play it back in front. Fisher is there to clean things up for Toronto FC.
the things that Shavar Thomas emphasized in our conversation earlier this week was that the first matchup of the year, Connecticut United felt hard done by their inability to take full advantage of their chances. Tanya almost getting a piece of that on the goal clearance from Knuckley. Now slipping in behind. Here's Jamari Nolan. Nolan, full head of steam. Jamari Nolan, it's in! 10 minutes after going down a goal, Toronto grabbed that goal back, and we're even again, 2-2. Jamari Nolan has not found himself in open space that often this evening, but that time taking full advantage, just outrunning the back line of CT United. Gianni Cimini, he's been so effusive in his praise of Jamari Nolan. He's had to balance a lot being in and out of the first team and second team environments throughout the season. But Cimini said he's a guy, he takes the whole experience, and you can see just how much he wants it when he's out on the pitch. Willing Toronto FC to back into this contest.
Toronto goal scored in the 71st minute by number 64, Jamari Nolan. That's Nolan.
Jamari Nolan, that's goal 7 on the season. Here in this 71st minute, pulling things back level between Toronto FC and CT United. Negotiating around is Lacey. Tries to stop, ends up coughing it up, and here's the recent goal scorer. He's done it for club and country. 5 goals for the Jamaica U20 national team earlier this year. Across 5 international appearances for Jamaica U20s. Stojadinovic making his 74th MLS Next Pro appearance in his career. Elected to give it up. Now Fisher cycles it around. It pops out the other side. Dawson couldn't tightrope the touchline, and it will be a throw in for CT United. Stabile has to work quickly to corral that ball back in. Took an awkward hop off his boots. And now the clearance from Zakari and Knuckley goes sailing out. Throw in, finds Gomez. Lacey, Applewhite. Getting back to Andre Applewhite. Losing ground are the Coy Wolves. Twice, Connecticut United have taken the lead. 41st minute going up a goal. Twice, Toronto FC have found a way to pull back level. They scored in the 60th, courtesy of Daquan Barrow off the set piece. Tanya gets a goal in the 66th, and 5 minutes later, Toronto FC able to grab the equalizer. This flashed in front, and Knuckley able to grab it. Stojadinovic fires it forward. Here's Nolan able to knock it down. Worked out wide over to Kodri. But there is a whistle just there on the right side of the frame. The offside flag up from the assistant referee. Rolled forward, Applewhite will run onto it. defended there by Stojanovic, and now cycled around. It caroms over to Agostini. Whipped across the face of goal again. Takes a ricochet off a Toronto FC defender. And Rickson Van Hees will have the throw. A triple change here for Toronto FC2. They will utilize their final 3 substitutions of the evening. Diego Nuebrito on. Joining him, Kervon Kerr will trot on. And Cheyenne Pinnock as well, Toronto FC Academy man. Meanwhile, it will be a Coy Wolves throw-in over on this near side. Van Hees wants to head this toward goal. And ultimately was able to whip that service in that was knocked out of play. And now Connecticut United will counter the three changes from Toronto FC with 2 of their own. Laurie Goddard will come on. Kawapaisho will also come on. 1 change remaining for Shavar Thomas and company. Toronto FC, they are out of substitutions. An offensive-minded change there for Shavar Thomas, bringing Goddard, who is a center forward by trade, and Kawapaisho, who's a striker, on. Daniel DiPolito will exit, as will Barnabas Tanyi. So within the span of about 60 seconds, both teams taking recent goal scorers off the pitch. Good distribution, played into a pocket of space here. Cheyenne Pinnock, too heavy of a touch, ended up pushing it out in front of him. Hacked away for the clearance by Toronto FC. That is where CT United will give chase.
Number 67, Kervon Kerr. Number 63, Cheyenne Pinnock. And number 66, Diego Nuebrito. They replace number 60,
Gomez goes out wide with it. Ernesto Gomez, back to him. Experience the future of gaming with Find, the first free gaming platform built for your smart TV. No console downloads or subscriptions required. Launching soon on Samsung and LG smart TVs. Lacey drives this in toward Monis. He has one tonight. Monis turns. Gives it up to Gomez. Pass was a bit behind Ernesto Gomez. And now Toronto FC, they don't have the numbers, at least for the moment. Well timed. Kemrath going right to ground at the proper moment. And Cheyenne Pinnock will toss this back in for Toronto FC. Deflected away off the Knuckley clearance, and it will work itself out. Knuckley will have the goal kick. Toronto FC, they're the team who scored the most recently. 71st minute, Jamari Nolan leveling the contest. He has since subbed off. This Connecticut United team, they struck first in the late stages of the opening 45 minutes. The 5th time in the last 7 matches they've scored the opening goal. Laurie Goddard trying to take on 2, and Knuckley will hack it away for another clearance. Marie Durr whistles for a stoppage. Connecticut United will restart play. And here they are again in the attacking half. The underlapping run, Applewade across the face of goal, through over to Van Hees. Stumbling around with it just for a moment, is able to corral that ball back in. Nice move from Monis, now slid across, looking inside, trying to find Monas flashing toward goal. And instead, Toronto FC will just drive this one out of play. Agostini, the 17-year-old, set to take this throw in. The conventional wisdom with MLS Next Pro independent teams like a Carolina Core, like a Chattanooga FC, who those two teams are in action today, they tend to trend older, more experienced, and this Connecticut United team does as well, but they have a lot of youthful experience as well. Flashed in, punched away. Knuckley got a hand to it. And speaking of youngsters, it was Agostini with that dangerous service. Pocket picked. The counter is on. Applewhite. Lacey rips this ahead over toward Laurie Goddard, and it's knocked away by Reed Fisher, spilling out of play. It'll stay here for a Dylan Lacey throw. Going back to CT United, they've not been shy about playing their young players. Giovanni Corsetti, Jeremy Madronda, Nico Colinaris, all academy players out of the CT United MLS Next Academy, available for selection today. 18-year-olds and a 16-year-old, plus the 17-year-old Agostini, who's out there right now for CT United. Boma finds Monas. Ahead, Van Hees. What's that step inside? Denied. Now slid over. Agostini slipped through. And Toronto FC will let that one roll out. Barrow just flings that one forward, laid off over to Kervon Kerr, and now given right back to Cheyenne Pinnock. Tried to reset it over to Kervon Kerr. Kervon Kerr, one of those players to watch out for if you're Toronto FC2. Flashed in behind, Kawapaisho pulls it in, and Paisho rolls it across the line! Twice now, Knuckley has misread it. This time, Paisho taking advantage, and CT United restores their lead, 3-2. Kawapaisho, the super substitute, sending CT United into a late lead at home. In the first half, CT United didn't have much success playing direct. They had to scrap and claw their way through a rigid Toronto defense. Things have opened up in this second half. Twice now off the direct ball, the Coy Wolves have gotten in behind and made Toronto FC pay. No matter who you talk to with this CT United side, whether it's Barnabas Tanyi, whether it's Daniel DiPolito, they all say the same thing. There's unwavering belief amongst these players in the game model. Unwavering belief in the plan for CT United. And they feel like that gets them across the finish line so often, even when things aren't going their way. Haven't exactly been easy so far today for the home side, and yet CT United late in this contest for the third time today, a one-goal advantage. Now the question becomes for Toronto FC, what do you have? They've been able to battle back from one-goal deficits twice so far tonight. Stojanovic wins a whistle. Something that Gianni Cimini highlighted in our conversation earlier in the week was with the changes that have occurred for Toronto FC these last few weeks. And his message to them is just finding the new norm right now due to the amount of player movement. And he says he's been impressed with the way his team has responded to that adversity, facing adversity late. Stojanovic floats it in toward Rankenberg, who makes the grab. Offside flag will come up. Laurie Goddard across that restraining line too early. Still plenty of time to go in the MLS Next Pro season, but if you are Connecticut United, you start looking at that Eastern Conference table, and coming into this evening's fixture, CT United set 6 points back of NYCFC, who right now occupies that final playoff spot. Here's Cheyenne Pinnock. Over Costabile, the quick switch in behind Campbell Dennis, back to Costabile. Bunching up over on this near channel. Costabile comes up with it. Here's Costabile still with it. Ricochets back over to Campbell Dennis. At the byline, Campbell Dennis tries to drag it across and ends up dragging it out of play. And we have an injured Luca Costabile. Getting a bit of a hand there from his teammate on that left leg. That's giving Costabile some issues. But going back to CT United with 22 points, just 6 back of that final playoff spot, at least entering the day. However, should this result hold, and still plenty of time to go in this, they would move 3 points closer toward that would-be playoff cut line. No independent team in MLS Next Pro history has qualified for the postseason in their inaugural year. Carolina Core came close in 2024. They finished 12 wins, 12 losses. They also set the record for most wins in an inaugural campaign for independent sides. Here's Cheyenne Pinnock, comes up with it off the flubbed clearance. Just an awkward ball lobbed forward toward Rankenberg, who will finally scoop that up. The next few weeks, the CT United side, they do not have an easy path to stringing together more victories. They get Red Bull New York, then Columbus Crew, Orlando, and New England Revolution in succession, their next 4 matches. And tripped up behind. Protests from CT United go unheard, looking for the whistle, and Fisher will turn it upfield. Marie Dirk charging forward. We get a whistle, and this will also be a booking. First yellow handed out this evening from our center referee, despite a match that has seen an abundance of whistles. Just that grab right there. Warren Agostini going into the book. Toronto FC, they've already scored off a free kick once this evening. It was the Dequan Barrow goal that put the contest even 2-2. Lobbed ahead, now knocked down by the header, and hammered clear by CT United. Over toward Lacey, who pulls it in. And Dylan Lacey, for his efforts, gets dragged down, which will draw a whistle. Toronto FC, meanwhile, staring down a potential 5th consecutive defeat. You look ahead to their upcoming schedule, though. They get FC Cincinnati, they get Inter Miami on the road, Columbus Crew, and Chicago Fire on the road. At least in a couple of those matches, perhaps a chance to get things back trending in the right direction. Racing forward now is Toronto FC. It's Kervon Kerr looking for options. Kerr Once Campbell Dennis deflects back to him. Shoveled out wide. Kodri goes high and misses.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official has indicated approximately
Officially 4 minutes of added time at the end of this 90. Toronto FC hoping they have some late match magic in their boots. CT United, meanwhile, just trying to salt away these final minutes as the offside flag will come up once more. Elsewhere around the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia Union, Huntsville City playing to a 0-0 draw. Union grabs the second point in the penalty shootout. As that ball goes lumped over the top, and he's tripped up by Kervon Kerr, which draws a whistle. After a lengthy weather delay, Chattanooga FC and Carolina Core have resumed. Chattanooga currently up 1-0. Orlando City B leading FC Cincinnati 2. Coming down the stretch of the season, things are going to get very interesting in the MLS Next Pro Eastern Conference. Chattanooga FC, should their result hold, at least for the moment, against Carolina Core as trainers out to check on Rickson Van Hees, it would move them into a three-way tie atop the Eastern Conference table with Columbus Crew and Crown Legacy. It's been such an impressive coaching job this year for this Chattanooga FC coaching staff. Richard Dixon, the interim manager, appointed just before the start of the season, as Van Hees is still down, being tended to by the trainers of Connecticut United. Chris Nugent departing in the offseason after guiding Chattanooga to their first ever playoff berth a season ago. They ended up finishing top half of the table enough to grab a home playoff game. They were felled by Huntsville City in that match. But then he leaves in the offseason, and Richard Dixon thrust in sort of an awkward start to the year as Chattanooga tried to find its identity under their new manager, and they have since found that identity, back to their winning ways. If they can hold off Carolina Core, they'd run their total to 9 wins on the season. If Connecticut United can hold off Toronto FC for these next handful of minutes, which with the injury stoppage, we will go over the 4 allotted for stoppage time as Rankenberg puts it back into play. Connecticut United, if they can hold off Toronto FC, they would pick up win number 7 on the year. Rickson Van Hees exiting due to the knock. Giovanni Corsetti, the academy man, coming on. In behind is Toronto FC. Rankenberg crashed into from behind by Reed Fisher. There is a yellow card out of the pocket of Marie Durr, and as Reed Fisher gets back to his feet, it'll be shown to him. Rankenberg was just trying to let that one roll out of play, turned his back toward Fisher, who goes right through him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has shown a yellow card to Toronto's number 75, Reed.
Worked back down by Toronto FC. Here's Kodri off the restart.
Yellow card in the 94th minute for Toronto.
Good ball centrally from Kodri. Costabile steps past one. Over to Campbell Dennis. Blocks the clearance away. Campbell Dennis will run onto it. Costabile flashed in toward goal. There's Rankenberg. Takes the collision from Fisher and is able to hold on to that ball. Brave goalkeeping for Gunther Rankenberg. Rigopoulos gave it up. Looping ball through the center. Kodri with it. Now spinning out of a would-be challenge. That was Cheyenne Pinnock. Toronto FC, they have to reset. Rigopoulos boots this forward. Headed down. It's Kerr parried away by Rankenberg. Kept in. The second ball clipped toward goal near post. Trickling out of play. It'll stay here. A late corner for Toronto FC 2. Trying to pick out Kervon Kerr over on the near stick. And this will likely be one of, if not the, last kick of the game. Lifted in the mixer. The heads go up. Hacked away by Paisho. Picked up by Costabile. Lobs this ball forward. Left it short though. Toronto still in possession. Rigopoulos over. Costabile. Diagonal ball. Rankenberg comes out and grabs it. And there is the full-time whistle. It's all over in Connecticut. A come-from-behind effort for CT United. Twice conceding their one-goal lead, and they fight off Toronto FC to hang on for all 3 points. Only one man stands among the rest as tonight's man of the match, presented by Adidas. And it's the man who came on and won things late for Connecticut United. Kawa Paisho in the 83rd minute, rounding the keeper, rolling it into the empty net, and keeping all 3 points here in Connecticut for CT United. He is your man of the match, and Connecticut United are flying high. Back-to-back victories, 4 wins in their last 5 matches, peaking at the right time in 2026. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Jake Griffith. Once again, your final CT United 3, Toronto FC 2. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Good night from the Nutmeg State.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.